when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, everybody. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to United Public Radio Network, also known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, or just UPRN, on 105.3 and 107.7 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And like I said, you're listening to the thing at the foot of the bed. I am one of your hosts. I'm going to introduce my co-host in just a sec. My name's Lorilei Potvin. I'm a host of my own show here on the network called The Angel Rock on Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just a few housekeeping things. First of all, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends. This network's been around for over 25 years. We stream multiple shows throughout the week, daily and nightly, I guess. And when we're not live, we do have the archive server, and it randomly picks shows over the last 25 years. And there's something for everybody here. We also have a whole bunch of new shows coming, especially on Tuesday nights. I believe we have some new shows already showing up there, so please check it out. Also, we have our own Roku channel on the Roku network. How you're going to find that is you're going to sign into your account, and you're going to go to the channel store and look up UFO space P as in paranormal, and I think there's a whole list. We're about the third or fourth one down. You're looking for UFO, Paranormal, and United Public Radio, and that's us. We are streaming on there live tonight. If you want to watch and contribute to the show, we've got a bunch of people in the chat. So if you want to participate in the chat like everybody else, I understand 80% of our listening audience is audio only, but we'd love to have you be part of the conversation. As you well know, my show, The Angel Rock, and this show is strongly audience participative. We love to have you hear what you guys want to talk about. So you're going to head over either to my wonderful co-host's YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience. It's David Hanzel. He also has a group on Facebook he's streaming to. I am streaming to Lorilei Potvin, which is a public profile on Facebook. Anybody can watch, and I pinned it to the top. I'm also streaming on my YouTube channel, which is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I believe we're streaming on Canada's Most Haunted. Can't think of the rest right now. If I forgot something, but I will jump in and mention it. But Dave, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, Annie. I was saying hi to everybody while you were talking.
I know you were.
Okay. Hi, Annie. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. My name is David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium, among a bunch of other things.
I forgot to tell them what I am. I'll tell them after.
Lorilei is one giant horn, one-eyed people eater.
That's right.
People eater. Yeah. So I'm a channel, and I'm a medium, and I'm a psychic, and all that stuff that goes with that. Welcome, everybody.
I guess I should tell them what I am, just in case you got anybody but
yeah,
new.
Go ahead.
I am a Canadian spiritual medium, a psychic, as well as crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, an RN or registered nurse. I don't know how I knew there was something. I could hear a spirit saying, you're forgetting something.
It's like, I forgot what I was doing.
Well, I don't have a script, so I just go off the top of my head. So I've been doing it.
I'm kind of Dave most of the time.
You're Dave.
Until I start speaking with spirits. And
how long did that take for us to go live? You guys, there's something crazy going on with StreamYard. As I've mentioned, I produce the show, our shows, both mine and the show, and quite a few other ones when needed. And I went to log in because I have multiple devices, because I use those, especially while producing. In case anything goes wrong, I'm back on here in 2 seconds, right? Well, I go into my main phone. It's kicked me out of StreamYard. And we all use the same StreamYard account. I have no idea why. And I have to get a hold of our owner. I'm going to give him a shout out, Joe Montaldo, who owns UPRN. and he runs this wonderful studio, the main studio, out of his own abode, but it's his account. So we all log into his StreamYard account, but he has to send us a code to jump in. That's the strange thing with StreamYard. There's no password. So
it's the code. Yeah, I know when I've been through it, when my computer kicks me out of everything or gets rid of my passwords, I am messed up. But I do have a book labeled Organized Chaos, which is every code that I've ever written down, and it's handwritten in there. But the funny thing is, you know how many of them I have changed and forgot to update my book? Because
you know what I do? People are going to know my secret, but a lot of people in the States especially seem to have an iPhone. I use my Notes app, and it's password protected. I put my passwords in there. I back them up in iCloud. And then because it's in my Notes app, it emails me every time something's updated. So I know I have multiple places where this is. The reason why I don't use a book is because my partner Del does. And I can't tell you how many times he says to me, "Where's my book? Where's my book?" Yeah. And
my book, put it knock on wood. Hi, well, come on up here, little co-host.
Is that Pom Pom?
No, this was Willow.
Pom Pom and Willow look so much alike to you. See their faces?
They look exactly alike, except Pom Pom is like 30,000 pounds right now because he's a fat kitty.
Oh, poor baby. Don't let your daddy.
No, he loves to be fatties. He's so cute. Willow is the wiry.
Y'all are lucky I got here when I did. Never mind. It took so long. I was telling Dave, and then I realized what time. Good thing Dave cut me off. As you know, I do resin. And I hear spirit, very clairaudient, as many of us are. And it's just before 6. And I'm thinking, I'll throw in, I got this new pump to remove bubbles from resin. I figure, it'll be fine. It'll be no problem. I got lots of time. And spirit, I hear spirit say, "Are you sure you really want to do that?" I'm going, "Stop it. It'll be fine. It'll be quick." Oh boy, was it not quick. I just came inside to my new resin machine. I popped outside for a quick fresh air break. And the resin exploded everywhere. I probably still have some on my hands. So I just got it all cleaned up.
You'll just be sticky during the entire show. Sticky, icky, and spooky.
Yeah. So let's say hi to some people we got here. Hang on. So we got lots of people. You guys are all here. So we got Michelle over in Australia, says, "Have a great show, folks. See y'all in the future." Because she's, I think, probably going off to work or getting ready. We got Brandy Reeder and Neil Carr says, "Hey guys, happy Thursday." And I should have said what Brandy said. She said hi. I think that's what she said. Hang on. Yes, hi. She said hello. And then we got Sandra Sharp. Hello, everyone. And then we got lots of David. It says the spirit experience. So I keep wanting to read your comments. Yeah. And then we got Jackie Lane. She said, "Greetings. Looking forward to the program." And then we have Annie 7, good. And hello and good evening. And then there's me. And then Annie said, and this is very kind of her, she said, "Y'all are very gifted. Love you both." And that's right back to you. And everybody watching. And Jennifer GR says, it's Jennifer GR.
Jennifer Gurr.
Yeah,
Jennifer Gurr.
It says Jennifer GR. It says, "Hi all, glad to catch you live." Well, we're glad you're here watching us live too. So David, you and I were doing some research. I know you had a busy day. I sent you a few videos, but then don't ever, you guys, if you think your phone is not listening to you, boy, have I got some wonderful beachfront property for sale for you guys in the Antarctic. But so we were chit-chatting back and forth with messages, and I'm on TikTok. Okay. I opened up YouTube, and what does it send me? This is from an actual news station. And this says, hang on, I got to find me on here. Let me just check it on here. I think it said strange sighting caught by trucker on a highway. And this highway, I guess, apparently a young girl very tragically lost her life. I don't know if it was a car accident or she was hit by a car. And when you first see it, like, I'm going, like, what is this? What am I seeing? And then they stop it and they blow it up a bit. Shall I play it? We can check it out.
Yeah, I'll play it once. I was going to tell you guys, just for fun, while she's setting this up, but about your phone listening to you. So Lorilei, and I don't know if I kept it on my phone, but this is freaking hilarious. Just so we can start this out.
You started to tell me, and then we got busy.
Yeah, I drove my father to he had to go to the doctor's appointments today, and it was a urologist.
Oh,
So
geez.
on the way there, we talked about stuff, and then on the way back, I asked him how everything was, and he's telling me, and I've got, my phone's on because I'm doing my Google Maps so I can get back home.
Yeah.
A little while later, after I get home, all of a sudden I started getting ads on my phone for Depends, and I was laughing so hard. I was like, really? Really? You think I'm not going to catch that? Oh my
I thought it was
God.
going to be Viagra, you were going to say, because you can get that from a urologist too. So
Yeah, no, thank gosh it went that route. I mean, I maybe didn't recognize it. This is a kid talking to his father. Please don't send him something silly like that,
Yeah,
but it was.
Would you get a message from? Oh, it's just Viagra. No.
Oh yeah. What's that message from? It depends. It's like, no. I'm just like, but that's the way it goes. But yet I can sit in my chair. My phone probably is freaked out by me though, because I'll sit in the chair I'm in right now. Sometimes like do a meditation, or I'll get real deep and just kind of, I talk. Well, everybody knows who's at a reading with me. I talk out loud to my guides. So I'll sit here and I'll just have my eyes closed. We'll be talking about some strange stuff. And I've thought about it. I'm waiting for my phone to come back and I was wondering,
like with Siri when it says, could you repeat it? Could you repeat that again, please? And it's like, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. Oh, I've had my phone do that too. That's what's scary about the phones, you guys. And it's not scary because I'm one of those people. Go ahead and look me up and research me and do whatever you want. I have nothing that that's dangerous for me. But
no
I've had
in our closets.
I've had my phone literally just all of a sudden come on and tell me stuff like, I couldn't hear you. And what did you say?
That's what mine does. Yeah.
Other stuff. Yeah. And I did have it say a name one time out of nowhere. That was a while back. But
hi, Heather.
But my phone was kind of weird at that point.
Well, you know what the weirdest thing for me, especially in my previous home, I've got this all queued up when we're ready to play it. And Heather's here. I said, hi, Heather, in the chat. She just popped in. And he says, I love when you're reading. He tells me who you are, validates. I do that now. Learn that from David. Yes, David.
When she's talking about, when I tell people, and this is what you should do. And if any of you have kids or anything, because I know we all want to go to that scary place. I get it. But sometimes when you're in your house, like I tell people, I heard a noise or someone called my name. I'm like, ask them who they are, man. Just say who are. I do it all the time. But I will say though, I've had a couple jump scares. The other day I had one. Somebody said my name real loud in here. And did I tell you about that? I think it was last week. I was just sitting here and I heard my name so perfectly. And then the other time when I heard the laughing, that was another one.
You told me about.
Yeah, that one was like, I didn't know what that was.
Well, you know what the freaky thing I was going to say very quickly to add to this is my phone has taken pictures that I did not take. And I think
you mentioned that to me.
You had that happen to you?
I haven't had that happen, but you have mentioned that to me. I know my mom's does it all the time, but it's always the picture of her purse or something like that because her grabs her phone. That's different. But there have been things on people's phones that don't know where they came from.
It's creepy.
I still have the photo, and I'm still trying to debunk it. When I find it again, Lorilei, I'll send it to you. It might be on my phone or my mom's. But when my mother's mom and dad, when they had passed, my grandmother had always said to my mom, who's gonna put flowers on my grave, whatever. My mom said, oh, we will, whatever. And actually I do it all the time. Every holiday, everything, I go down to their grave and I take I change their flowers out in a theme. And
that's nice.
I'm sure my grandmother loves that and thinks it's just hilarious. But every time I'm done, I take a picture of it. I have one picture. I was there one day with my mom and I didn't even notice it. I took the picture and my mom calls me up later and she goes, David, who was standing behind you in the picture? And I said, no one's standing behind. How can you tell someone's behind me? Because I took the picture. What do you mean? There's a shadow there that's not me. There's a
Wow.
shadow in front of me. That's
I
not.
downloaded a video like that to show tonight of a little kid. It's really
Oh,
cool.
good. Yeah, this shadow literally was wearing a hat, and it was just the outline of the shadow in front of me. You could see me, but there's a shadow next to me, and it's not my shadow. It's not a double shadow. My mom was in the car. So I was like, I don't know who that was, but I've spent a lot of time trying to debunk it just because of the fact that it still looks like a shadow.
Do
Like,
you have?
you
It's too
know,
bad you don't have it. We could show it because this one you can't see. I'm looking at it. You can't see. I changed them over. I'll play the video after since we're talking about pictures. This is a picture that showed up on my phone. If it's going to pop up there. I did not take this picture. And I know it's hard to see. I'm going to try and blow it up. And you can see there's a face. If I can get it to go down. No, it won't go down. Right at the top, almost left center. There is a face in there. And when you see it blown up on full screen or whatever, I don't know whose face that is. I don't know what that is.
I guess it could be. When I first saw it, thank you, Annie said it. When I first saw it, because I thought I could have swore I saw a dove.
I thought it was an angel too, Annie, when I saw it. I did. This face is a little creepy, but it's not scary. Like, it's very stern. And I called on Archangel Michael a lot when I was in my previous home with all the paranormal activity. Maybe it's Michael coming in to let what was there, like, you guys need to get out of here or behave yourself, whatever. Brandy thinks it looks like a cat paw. It's hard to see. I did last week, but I did. No, it was Monday night. And I'll try and do that tonight. The videos that I share, they won't let me put it on the live stream, but I have a banner right below for the show. I did it for the Angel Rock too. I posted some people sent some spooky pictures in, and we had some spooky stuff, and I posted it for people so they could find it. But it's definitely, if you're looking at the picture, it's right up at the top where the wing is. Look if you can focus behind the wing. There, you can almost see the eyes and the nose. And if you had the picture in front of you on your computer screen, you will see it. It's really interesting. And I did not take this picture. I have no idea. Annie thinks it's an angel. Well, believe me, we could have used a lot of light in that. I have some crazy pictures. I have crazy stories. Dave, are you looking for the picture?
I was looking while you're talking. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I can tell you some of the entities I have seen. Now, my partner Dell saw almost the exact opposite. But one night I was talking to a friend on the phone. They were 3 hours behind me out west, and we were talking on video chat. And they go, "Oh my God, I love the color of your hair," and it was lighter, kind of blondie brown sort of. And I said, she goes, "What is it?" And I said, "Oh, the box is in the garbage outside. I'll run right outside." And like I say, it was about 3 in the morning. And I go outside and I look across the street. So it's about maybe 15, 20 feet across. There is this massive white glowing wolf. Like, I'm getting goosebumps telling you guys, like literally the size of a small bus. I'm not kidding. And it stopped. It was walking very slowly. It stopped and it looked at me like this, staring at me, and it had glowing aqua blue eyes. And all of a sudden my friend's yelling at me, "Lorilei, get back in the house, get back in the house, get back in the house." And I'm going, "Why?" She's going, "You're not hearing that?" I go, "No." And I go, "Can you see this?" And I turned my phone around. She couldn't see anything. And she's yelling at me to go back in the house. And I'm mesmerized by this animal. And it's walking. It gets to the corner. So it probably walks about 10 feet, goes across the street. So it wasn't a big street. It was just a single lane type street. And as it goes past our telephone pole, about 8 feet past, it disappears. So I go back in the house because my friend is freaking out. I'm going, "What are you freaking out about?" She goes, "There was all kinds of snarling and growling." And I go, "I didn't hear anything." This is what made me really freak out, though. My eldest kid was in his room, still awake. And he goes, "Oh, Mom," he goes, "You just came back in?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "What was going on?" He goes, "I could hear all this growling and snarling." That's when I got a little freaked out because my kid did not know why I went outside. He couldn't see what we were talking about. Very quickly, my partner Dell on our security camera seen something very similar to that, but black on our side of the street with red eyes. So I don't know what these things were, why they were there. I didn't feel any danger when I saw what I saw and experienced any at all. So had lots of freaky things. Did you find it, Dave?
You know what? No, I think it's on my mom's phone.
Okay.
When I took it. Yeah, I was trying to find it. Yeah, and I found the other great pictures, but I didn't find,
Well, send me one if you want to send it, because I'm going to put this video back up. It's going to start playing. It always does.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, stop. Okay, good. Now, how do I get this? I'm trying to get it to go back.
It's going to be on her phone. I'll find it again, and I'll find it sometime, and we'll do it on one of our shows.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to have to reload it because it's
okay.
Let's see if I can get it to go back. Stop playing.
I had, while you're doing that, hi, Nicole. Oh, you got a minute yet? Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, sorry. What I had to do is let it play. It wasn't giving me the play button. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that
go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say? Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I was going to say that graveyard has actually had a few weird things because my grandmother in that's buried there, and there's like it's a really big, huge, pretty graveyard or whatever they're called. Hundreds, thousands of people in there. And there was a house in there that's like the main office. I had never been in it or anything. Well, during my NDE, one of the things, there's a bunch of stuff that was done during my NDE that came true afterwards. And the thing was that came true just so I'd realize that it was real where I was. So, but there was this house I went into at that graveyard because it was after I had saw my grandparents during my NDE. I seen all my grandparents were there. And somewhere along the line, I walked into that house and I walked around it. And that was just, I thought was just a dream. And then it was sometime after my NDE, I went there a couple months later to, we were going to put some new flowers out. And at that time, this was back in 2016, I think it was, at that time, they would remove everything like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember when they removed anything and there weren't any signs up and we're going to put the new flowers out. So we drove over to that house and I knocked on the door and she goes, oh, come in and we'll look for that. It was the exact house I had been in during my NDE.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I had been, for some reason, I was in that house in spirit, I guess, if that makes sense. Because I'd never been in there before.
Yeah, but you said maybe it was to validate things for you when you came back.
That's what I happened. I made a video. Yeah, I made a video about it on TikTok, and it's just a short, and it's pinned to the top of my TikTok, I think. And because it was it got like tons of people watched it. I guess just a story of it because somebody had asked me. They asked me about, can you convince me that there's life after death or that we go on? And there's really not much I could say a billion things, but I thought, okay, I was outside of my body inside a house that was about 45 minutes away from that hospital that I had never been in before. And I was like, it was the same one, same podiums, same room, same everything that I saw in there. The only thing that was different was the lady who answered the door.
I think because spirit knows we're not always going to take the same path and we have free choice, as you well know, but they probably knew that this is somewhere you would go. Maybe they knew this was for whatever reason. Maybe you planned.
Oh yeah, they obviously,
lifetime. I'm going to visit this during my NDE. And then when I go there, it's going to validate absolutely that
I was there.
This happened.
Yeah, so I always tell people, definitely sometimes you can dream about places that you've never, that you think you've never been and go. It's kind of like, there's people who will, they'll it's literally noted, like the Anne Frank house, that little girl who they took her to Amsterdam or whatever, to the Anne Frank house. She knew exactly where everything was. She knew all about everything because she told her mom she was Anne Frank. She kept telling her. Did you hear about that one?
Yes, I
It's
have. But there's
it's pretty famous.
lots of kids that do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was that one, and I thought it was really quite fascinating. So I think, I mean, there is something to it, however we want to believe. But I'm like, yeah, you might as well
I
just keep your
study
mind
near
open.
I've studied near-death experiences for so long and I'm particularly fascinated. That's why I'd heard of this story because it is quite spectacular of what
Mhm.
you've just shared.
Oh yeah, that
Because
one was.
there's no way that a child would know that. And actually, they've been showing shorter clips of this on Facebook, I think, in the video clips. I don't know if it's called The Ghost Inside My Child or something. And all
Mhm.
these children who have had past lives that remember them, and they share the story. I guess it was a TV series or something, but it always fascinates me because some of these stories are really profound. And for people that don't believe in an afterlife, of course, it's not our job to convince anybody, but you tell us how a little child, a 3, 4-year-old, is telling you what their name used to be and what I used to do. And then as they get older, they start drawing. Like there was one story, she's a rock journalist. Her name is Susan. I forget her last name always. But her son was the architect of the Titanic and went down with the ship
Oh.
and was drawing pictures and correcting when he'd see stuff on TV. Like this is a little kid who's never seen the
Yeah.
Titanic.
There
Heard of
are little kids. There's a lot of little kids in the last like 5,
it.
10 years that have come back, and they've been in 9/11. They've
Yep.
been on the Titanic. They have been war heroes. They have been this, that, and the other thing. That little girl, that Anne Frank one, really struck me because that little girl wasn't, I mean, she wasn't even 7 years old, never been to Germany. When they got there, she led everybody to the Anne Frank house. She's, how would she know? I mean, she's 7. She doesn't, she didn't have
Yeah,
Google
so
that.
how would a 7-year-old, and then you get people saying, well, some 7-year-olds can be very precocious and there's the internet. And it's like, no, because these children just don't wake up at 7 and start talking about this stuff. Like from the moment they can speak, like most of these parents, when you hear the story from the parent, and don't get me wrong, every parent thinks their child is the most special, wonderful entity on the planet. And
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way, because we're biased and whatever, we're the parents. But these parents, you can tell from listening to them, there's something very unique and very unusual about these children when they come back. And I can't tell you, again, there was one family, they were devoutly religious, like did not believe in reincarnation or anything. And eventually they had to give in. And I think I don't know if it was a daughter, they took her to the place she kept saying she had been from. Same thing. Knew exactly where to go, where little hidden things are. And then there's always that movie, Kate and Leopold. Have you ever seen it with Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman? I love that movie. He is a prince from back in the day, and I believe it's him or it's his butler, Otis, who creates a time machine, and he ends up in present day. And then you've never seen that? You've never seen that movie?
No, kind of. I might have. If it
Oh,
was,
you gotta
if it was,
watch it. You gotta
what's it
watch
called?
Kate and Leopold.
I've heard of Kate and Leopold. I never saw it though. My
It's a
parents.
mind, you know what,
Yeah.
because it has to deal with present time and going back and time travel and stuff. Oh my, I'm getting goosebumps telling you it. I haven't watched it in a while, and it's really
There is a new movie that just came out. I want to see it. It looks like so much fun.
what's it called?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. There's these Chinese ladies in it.
Is
They're
that
the
the
main
Jamie Lee
character.
Curtis movie?
I don't know.
I
I watched some. I just watched some clips the other day, and I thought
And they
that
go
looks
into
just.
like water paint world and all this other, because I've heard about it. It's quite strange. But I
Yeah, it's
see your
really
hair,
quite
Stuart.
strange.
Hang on. Go ahead,
Hey,
Dave.
Stuart. I just love those. I like weird movies like that. That's the only thing I can get
This
into.
isn't so much a weird movie, but let's put it this way, and I'm not giving a lot away for people. Towards the end of the movie, Kate sees herself in a picture from the past. And it's a bit of a love story, and it's a bit of, I don't want to say too much because I'll give it away, But I really, really enjoyed that movie when it came out, and I do enjoy watching it. It's got Liev Schreiber in there, and his name is Stuart. He might be the one that built the time machine, I think, in the present time. And he lives below Meg Ryan. They used to be fiancés, and now they broke up, but they live above each other in like this house that's like an apartment. And Leopold is this very well-off man, and he's at a ball. His uncle, wealthy uncle, is forcing him to marry because they are holding up appearances back. And this is like probably the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he has to pick a wife, and he's supposed to pick a wife the night he goes missing with the time machine, because his uncle wants him to marry a wealthy woman because they don't have much of their family fortune left. It's quite a story. Like, check it out if you can.
Wow,
It really is.
watch it one day. I am terrible with movies nowadays. Ever since post 2015, my attention span to watch a movie is literally like 5 minutes.
I don't watch that many. Like, I'm supposed to be watching the movie Hypnotic with Ben Affleck. Somebody asked me to watch it for a particular reason. I started to watch it, and then it's the same thing. I just can't sit there normally for a movie. Like, I just can't. I don't like going to the theater either. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Well, Neil Carr and all that. We're going to get to these comments.
You want to read them? Let's read Sandra's first.
Okay. What do you want to do? Comments first?
Sure. And then why did you have something else you want to do?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so Sandra says, as a child, I was frequently seeing places I hadn't been to before, even got my mom out of a traffic jam, remembering the way through a section of town we'd never lived in. That is cool.
I know. I love seeing the ones. Yeah, because I have an answer to the last part. It goes on down a little bit. So okay. Neil is right. Neil writes, and you can go on to the next one then. A couple of days ago, I saw the most amazing. I saw the most amazing investigation. This young investigator and explorer, Seth, was at some historic house with a half a dozen other investigators. 2 of them were from TAPS, and they were a couple. When they touched each other like holding hands, the spirits who wanted to come through would have the energy to tap or have footsteps heard. Hey, Stuart. Well, we said, hey, Stuart, but I think... And then the last part.
I'm going too far up. Hey, okay. So Sandra's seeing Kate and Leopold.
Oh, hold on. This is the end of.
That's what it was. She's right. Just, I know there's more to Neil's thing, but she says, love Kate and Leopold. Kate's ex-boyfriend found a crack in time. Yeah, but he was working on it. I remember that. He was working on this kind of stuff. And then it says Leopold invented the elevator and named it for his butler. Yes. Otis. Now, do you know when you go into elevators, maybe not so much now, but back in the day, and I remember seeing this OTIS on elevators, a plaque, or like where the buttons were. That was the guy. Yeah, that was apparently true. That's why it's named after either the inventor, or I don't think it was Leopold, but Otis, I think, is the inventor of the elevator. Otis something. Okay, here's the rest of it.
Here we go. Oh, so Neil was on the rest of it to catch you back up. He was watching an investigation, and there's 2 people who held hands at some point, and when they held hands, that's where they could hear the tapping and the sounds and everything. And then the last part, he writes, I thought about how back in the day people would hold hands for seances, which no one really does so much anymore. But the talking boards, combined energy may be the key element in communication. Actually, it's a flow of energy, I believe. I think that's what you're talking about, Neil. When people hold hands and it keeps the energy to go, because in seances, it used to be if you stopped holding hands, it broke the energy that was going around. I don't know why they don't hold hands anymore. I mean, they do.
Because you don't really need to, right?
I guess you don't need to.
No, what you perceive becomes what you believe, and it becomes your reality. Yeah. So if you've got a room full of people that think you got to hold hands.
Yeah, right? It's kind of like you guys, anything we do in life, it's kind of like spells or anything like that. You don't literally have to put a ritual behind anything. It's like people ask me that can't sage their house. I'm like, intention will work. But what happens is, excuse me, with the energy coming together. And since we're in a physical place doing physical things, so we're adding the the rituals or the spells or the incantations or the law of attraction and all that. When we do that in the physical world and do something, apparently it really cements it. Or when you talk out loud,
I think it's the energy collectively
it
of
is,
vocal as well as touch, as well as the number collectively of energy. It strengthens it, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I was younger and spirits used to talk to me and I talked back, I only talked back to them in my head because there's always people around me. And whenever I talked back to them in the head, I had to get a handle and kind of search for them again. Does that make sense? I had to look for them again because I wasn't trusting the other energy. I'd be like, oh, that's me answering back, you know? But when they had me start talking out loud to them, probably 8 years ago, talking out loud to them is like immediately when I talk out loud to them, you can just feel all this swirling stuff going on. It's like formulating the words back to you. So I do like doing the rituals to things. I like doing the rituals.
I think because it gives rhyme or reason and it's repeatable. It's almost like if you're going to do an experiment for research, right? One of the reasons why things are accepted is because there's a method, basically a hypothesis, a result, and a method. And if you follow the method, you should get the same results. And if you can, that's when it starts to become more acceptable research, right? The more people that can repeat it. I think it's the same thing as this, right? We've got a written ritual passed down through time. We didn't have a computer. We didn't have all these things we have now.
Somebody else explained it at some point, and I'd like the explanation, although I can't remember it. But it is basically it's basically on that. It's just doing stuff with something. It just makes it more fun. I guess that's why we're not just talking heads, like walking just like on the earth, just standing there and thinking about all the stuff we do. We actually physically have to move to go do it. Where in the spirit world, you don't.
No, but the other thing that people don't realize is how incredibly powerful we are. I actually wasn't looking for it. I was doing research last week for a show on TikTok. First thing I open, it's Marina Jacoby, and she's channeling. And she doesn't channel like normal people that I've seen before. And the stuff she was talking about human beings and, how we talk about this in the spiritual world, of we're all a part of each other. Hi, Roger Garza. Welcome. Anyways, so where was I going with this? So we talk about us being a part of one another. We really are a part of one another. And I'm not saying this from an ego sense. It depends on what your belief system is, whether you want to call it, we would call it source. Some people call it God, some people call it the universe, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. We are part of that. We came from that. We have the same abilities to create, to manifest, to do all these things, right? And then we've talked about the laws of the universe. So we are capable of all these things, but I think you have to believe in it to be able to get it to work, right? Like, so people think that as a seance, you all have to hold hands. So because people believe that, it becomes so. You see what I'm saying? Or with the ritual or whatever it could be.
I like Kathy Hanley Little says the ritual is a form of meditation, and it is. And meditation is focus. All of that. Doing the ritual is a wonderful way to focus on what you're doing, and really, I like doing stuff when I say stuff. Mm-hmm. I do.
I think it adds. Yeah.
I do too. Just my preference. Oh, no, I was going to say, it's just my personal preference. It just works better for me when I do something.
So, Howie, you were about the third person. I guess I'm going to have to watch this movie that I've heard in about 2.5 days. So he says, Somewhere in Time is a 1980 American romantic fantasy drama film from Universal Pictures, directed by Jeanette Schwark, and starring Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour, and Christopher Plummer. It's a film adaptation of the novel Bid Time Return from 1975 by Richard Matheson, who also wrote the screenplay. Reeve and Seymour fell in love and had a brief relationship during production. Interesting.
Do you know what was one of my favorite movies
Hi,
one of my favorite movies that I think in a roundabout way, I think it's in a secret way. It explains a lot of things about portals and dimensions and everything. And that's the movie Time Bandits.
Oh, I've heard of that movie. I've never watched it, but
It is an amazing movie. It's just fun, but explains they're going through portals to they're told that they think that they stole this map from God about how everything goes, but it's a map, and they can go from dimension to dimension and portal to portal and steal all the gold and then take it with them so they could just be rich. They don't even know why. I mean, it's the cutest movie.
yeah, but that's what Marina Jacoby's stuff involves too, about utilizing portals to be able to access all this stuff. Howie says, yes, Time Bandits as well. I want to give Faye a shout out because I was on Roger's show, Roger Garza. They have Latino Psychic Visions on Wednesdays, and then they have this Mugs for You on Saturday. And I joined him a couple of weeks ago. They used to be on our network. They now have taken they were on Facebook and YouTube, and they've since gone back to Facebook and YouTube instead of on UPRN. And that's okay. They're still very good friends of us, everybody here in the show. But Faye has started a new show called Faye's Angels, and I believe it started yesterday, so I want to give her a shout out. And Kathy reminded me, Faye, I think I told you guys that last night. I left you a quick message, and I told her I had a meeting, and I did. So it's on my list of replays to watch this week. So I want to give you a shout out, Faye, about that. Sorry, go ahead. Do you want to read Neil's other comment too, Dave?
Yeah, Neil says he downloaded an app that Steve Huff helped to create. Steve Huff,
I know who he is.
Yeah. I really liked an explanation that he gave for spirits. They are light energy, no eyes, no body, no brain. We are the conductor and interpret it. In a sense.
What I'm going to say though, in disagreement, and I like Steve Huff, right? To each their own, is that we do have a brain. It's just not the brain that we think that we have, right? Like we're used to having a physical body here, but the reason why we're immortal and eternal is, if you want to call it the soul, whatever you want to call it, right? But that's the part of who we really are and the essence of it. Wouldn't you agree? Because it makes it sound like we're just light floating all around with no thought.
No, you have, there's a ethereal body, an esoteric body. There's also a plane where you are just pure consciousness too, with no body, no brain, no nothing. You're just pure consciousness. That's out there as well. There's a lot of different, everybody thinks, I think, and I don't want to kill anybody, and everybody can have their own belief. But from what I know, from my research, from my experience, it's not just heaven. Heaven is a very, very small part. There's a billion other places to go to, a billion other dimensions, and a billion other everythings. I do like what he said. Steve Huff said, Neil said, Steve Huff said a French speaker will hear a French spirit speak, a French and American would hear English. That's absolutely true. The funny thing is, too, I talk to people on the other side who did not speak English in life, but I understand them from here because mediums, what people don't realize about mediums, and mediums probably don't realize about themselves, is they speak more languages than probably anybody in the entire world, just because of the fact they can understand everything.
Okay, so we got a question, but before I get the question, okay, just so you know, I don't bring it up anymore, but just to remind you, okay, so I say I'll highlight you if you're on Facebook, and it works out this way. So this is coming up with Facebook user, hi. So you have a couple of options. You can sign into StreamYard.com and get them permission quickly. You go StreamYard.com/Facebook, and they'll ask for permission to use your picture and your name. But I know there's lots of people on here that have done that, and they keep doing this.
Yep.
Or you can put your name behind you, or you can just remain anonymous.
Yeah, or you can remain anonymous too. Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to give the answer first, and then to Roger this time, since you answered Neil, and then you go right after me. So Roger asks, question to the both of you. Do you believe in attachments as you bring something home from a spirit tour? I'm going to answer that. Can you? Yes. But I think that if you go in there, and not everybody comes home and brings home an attachment from a spirit tour. And Dave and I've had many conversations about this on air and off air. So did you build this into the experience you were going to have in this lifetime? possibly. Maybe you wanted to understand what that was all about. A lot of times, I believe that energy, not a lot of times, all the time, that like attracts like energy. If you're in a lower vibrational state, mood wise, energy wise, health wise, maybe you're under the influence of something, could you be a more likely vehicle for something to attach to you? Yes. But does it happen all the time? No. And you do not need to go on a spiritual tour and be afraid that you're going to bring home an attachment. If you like, you can protect your own energy. I have a video, and I don't have a big YouTube channel. One is being very grounded when you go to something like that. The other is, it's called the Love Shield, and you create it with love. Go ahead, Dave. I know you're dying to jump in here.
Oh, no, that's okay. We have a little different opinion on attachments.
We do.
And what Lorilei, we do agree on one thing. Not everything in the freaking world is an attachment. Not everything's an attachment. I do believe that we can pick up stuff from other places. I think I would never go on a ghost hunt or someplace that is known to have bad energy because people have put it there, and you go there drinking or anything like that.
I agree with you on that.
You just leave yourself open for all kinds of crap. Because listen, if I was a spirit and I knew that somebody could hear me because they were drunk, damn well I'd be having fun with that person. It's just going to be, I don't think that I did a lot of studying, not enough. I am by no means an expert on exorcisms throughout my life. I got really, really, right after my NDE, I had an obsession with exorcisms, and not but it was an obsession a lot of people wouldn't want me to hear. My obsession was, I tried to prove it to myself, and I was like, I literally am like, nope. The bad thing is, just from being in the spots that I was on the other side and knowing something, which I can't validate to you, I can just tell you that it's my knowing and my belief, is that a lot of exorcisms and a lot of things that were done way, 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 way back then they did not have a demon in them. Some of these people had mental illness. Some of these people had other things, and that's what they blamed it on. And that carried through for a while. Do I think people can be possessed? No. I do believe they can be influenced.
I'm jumping in here. Okay. So you guys know I usually give my favorite YouTube channels a shout out. I'm going to do it. I follow true crime. You guys know I do. I'm going to give Grizzly True Crime and Surviving the Survivor. If you're a true crime fan, a lot of us in the paranormal world also seem to follow that as well. But my boys, they've already listed. I'll be in the live tomorrow night, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. The Foreman Brothers with Paranormal Nightmare. Those guys have gone out of their own pocket to help people all across the U.S. because of what they went through as small children. I don't know. Take a look. They film it, and they film it live. I truly believe these guys do not fake things because they've gone somewhere and there's nothing. Okay. You listen to some of these stories, because the one last week, a little girl, she had horrible parents and she was murdered. And she was abandoned in a drug house. I believe it was in Idaho. There are pictures. That little girl has been caught on camera. There were all kinds of things. And the lady that went there, that was a paranormal investigator, very caring, very maternal. That little girl followed her home, and she was having some personality changes and all kinds of things. Did she need an exorcism? No. Did they work with the little girl? Yes. Did they clear it? Did they do what they needed to do? I think they did. I've seen other places where there are things. And the reason why I give them a shout out, too, like the Paranormal Files, Colin Brown and his family, I don't think they manufacture evidence. He does get super hyper excited when something happens. He needs to kind of tone that down a wee bit. And then same as Twin Paranormal. They get super excited. And they do. These two young guys, I'm sorry, I love them dearly watching them, but they do dumb stuff. Colin did a blood ritual with his brother-in-law and his dad over a Ouija board. Well, I'm not saying a lot of stuff happened, but there are some interesting things. And I think that we need to be aware of it all. I'm not saying you have to believe in it.
we create what we believe. So the reason I say about like when I was talking
This
about
woman
possessions
last
and stuff,
David
I
wanted
don't.
to create this little girl coming home and what happened. And I'm telling you, all I'm suggesting to people is you've got your belief and I've got mine, and that's okay. But how
Yeah.
people check it out and see what you think when you
I
watch.
watch those guys. I like those guys. There's probably the only ones that I really like that much.
I
Because
like
they're
them too
real.
because I
Really
think they're real. And
but what I'm saying is, I'm not if somebody says to me, David, this person's possessed, and I see this person going nuts and all that, I wouldn't sit here and go, no, they're not. They're stupid. They're acting it out. I would not say that because I understand that we do create our own experiences. But I
and
would
we could have very well have, like we've talked about this with girls.
you could very well have wanted that experience or wanted to
Or
show
like
that
my experience, like I always
yeah.
looking for the paranormal. It found us, but you asked me this, and I remember this, and quite clearly I agreed with you that, Laura, do you possibly think you had this experience because maybe you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now? And I agree with you 100%. That has to be one.
And see, to me, with possessions, I don't see them as possessions only because my spirits from teaching always told me there's only room for one soul in the body. Although they have told me this, and this is why I say I would never say something to somebody who is doing something, because the thing is, I merge with spirit when I do like my lives with in front of a group. I merge with them, and literally they come close enough where, I mean, I've been just sitting here doing the reading, and my body will be doing what that person was doing, and I've been called out. They're like, I remember one time up in Virginia, I was channeling this, well, not channeling, but I was just doing this reading and talking to this spirit. And when I get into it, I get really into it. And I'm really open and really trusting with spirit. I don't know. Could be a bad thing. Could be a good thing. Who knows? Cross that bridge when it happens. But I was sitting there talking to this woman, and my foot, like somebody was giving me a, what is that called where they hit your knee with a hammer? Reflex?
Reflex, yeah.
My left foot kept going, kicking and kicking and kicking, and I was laughing. I kept hearing this woman laughing, and I said to the woman I'm giving the reading for, I'm like, she will not let go of my leg. She said, I'm supposed to show you the kicking and kicking and kicking. And she said she used to trip everyone who walked by her. That was her thing when she was alive. Just a funny, weird woman, and she took control of my leg to have me kick because I wasn't
Can I add
understanding.
something though? When you said there's only room for one soul in the body, I agree with you. But people that I have seen, and I'm not even going to call it a demon because everybody makes it sound like a demon. Something negative that should not be here, that is lower vibrational energetically. What I have seen to people that have been involved with this is it's not necessarily when we call it an attachment or a possession. Okay, what it is, you've got something negative, and if it understands how a human being works, what they do, and you have experienced this, I have experienced this, anybody that does mediumship has, where you've had spirit wake you up in the middle of the night. You're having a dream. I know I have. Wake up, you need to write that down or whatever. Okay. So what I have seen with people is what these negative lower vibrational entities do is they wear you down. They don't let you sleep. They're nattering at you all day long. And it's not positive things. Like we talk to spirit all day long, but not negative. Okay, then they're not able to eat, or it makes them feel depressed, it makes them feel sick. It influences the normal functioning of what a human being should be, to the point where you are so lowered physically, mentally, emotionally, even socially, that's how it sort of digs it, if you will, its claws in. I look at it almost like a parasite. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's not going into you, but it's attached to you. And if it is even just feeding off your energy, whatever it is, yes, I think that can happen. I do. Yeah, I don't think it goes into you though.
No, I think you could merge with it. And like I said, I mean, if you are in a low vibration is not a bad thing, you guys. Low doesn't mean negative. Low is just certain feelings we have, like sadness. It's a low vibration. It's hard to get through sadness. I think when we're in super low vibrations, if there's another spirit of a low vibration, they might just want to go, oh, they're kind of like me. Get
Well,
real
think
close.
about a
and hit it.
criminal. Think about a criminal
Yeah.
who's out to look to rob somebody. Okay. And again, I'm not an expert in this, just research, and I don't ever want to be a participant in it. But as I understand it, and think about it logically, a criminal is looking for a victim going down the street. Who are they going to be looking for? Somebody that's distracted, has their headphones on, can't hear anything, or maybe they're smaller, they're weaker, maybe they've got a, you know what I mean? Like I walk with a cane when I'm out. What I'm saying is they're looking for somebody to pick on, somebody that is physically strong and aware of their surroundings, whatever else. They're probably not going to want to pick a fight with them, is what I'm saying. And that's almost how I feel like with these lower vibrational entities at times. They're looking for somebody, but it's energy they're looking for. It's not necessarily physical attributes like
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you. It's all about the energy, because I don't think ghosts really care about physical attributes at this point.
No, but that's what I think attracts. If you're looking to feed off something, if you need that type of energy, right?
Yeah.
You're going to go to something that like attracts like.
Hey,
it's a lot easier than somebody, their energy is good, they're grounded. You know what I mean?
And as people, and as real people, and as people, we do that all the time. I mean, we like to hang out with people that make us feel good. And if you notice, when you make out with people who make you feel bad, your life sucks. You know what I mean? Like people, like, why is my life so terrible? Well, I met 5 people that you hang out with on. They always say that you're like, I think it's like you're like 3/4 of the sum of the 5 people closest to you.
Yes.
Forrest. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you hear that too?
Well, you're supposed to become the most like the people you spend the 90% or more of your time with. And it doesn't necessarily have to be family. It could be people at work.
It could be
anybody
anybody.
you spend the bulk of your time with. Five of those people, their top 5. You're supposed to develop many of their attributes and what.
That's why I only talk to people on the internet. Oh, God forbid. There are people I do not want to be like, and I make short work of them when I have to talk to them. I'm like, I'm not like you.
Yeah, but you know what? I seen a friend of mine who was just, I had actually named it for him when he explained what was going on. And I said, what I would probably call it is the dark night of the soul. Sometimes that happens, not always, but to some people when they go through a spiritual awakening, especially more as an adult. And I noticed he posted something recently about the more I become involved with my spiritual path, the smaller my friend circle gets. And in a way, no, I'm not saying people have to cut their friends off, but what you will find is, and I'm not trying to make it sound elitist, and I know you understand this, David, but people listening, but you will find that it doesn't matter what you do, people will notice that you're changing. You're evolving. And if you're working on yourself and you're working on healing things and getting a more positive attitude, and maybe we all need healing. Okay. So once, say, even if you chose not to drink and everybody around you drinks, for example, even doesn't even have to be spiritual, right? You'll hear people say, well, you're not fun anymore. You don't drink. You're not this. So you just naturally kind of grow and evolve away from sometimes from people when you make a big life change. And I know that that's part of when you're sort of following your spiritual path. Sometimes you do have to take a look at people around you that maybe will drag you down, like you said, maybe make you not.
I did yesterday, because yesterday I had forget my day. Let's do these comments because I saw some really good
tons. I'm dying to read them. Well, okay,
I
first
know,
of all, Roger asked us about mirrors. I believe a mirror could be a portal, but again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over from spirit. What you perceive becomes what you believe, and it becomes your reality. So if you think every mirror is a portal, guess what? It's going to be a portal. It's like the old saying,
or it's going to trick
you can or you can't, you will succeed. Right?
Yep. Yeah, because remember, every Spirit had said something really weird to me one day, and one day, it's like every day, but it had to do with, if you take a truth and an untruth from a certain perspective, they're both correct. Just from your perspective.
You know where that matches is something you've been saying, and I never considered it from this perspective. Things that say we I'll use myself, that I might consider evil, or you or us as a whole. But say it was an alien, for example, and we thought it was an evil alien. Well, where they are, where they come from, it's not evil, right? It's all in the eyes of the beholder and perspective. You said that. I didn't say this.
Yeah, I said that. Yep, I said, yeah, and because I've had people, there's some weird spirits out there who have done some terrible things, and it's like, are you, like regretting it? They're like, no, why? What do you mean? I felt good to do it. So for them, it did. I know it's weird. I was telling Lorilei, Spirit had always taught me that every energy is a neutral energy until we endow it with positive or negative. And that's just basically how it goes. And it all depends on the person. I'm pretty open to a lot of stuff. I mean, there's some stuff, if it's harmful to people, I usually try to stay away from it. But did you hear me say usually?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I had to plug my computer in. It was unplugged somehow. Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, we're pretty open about stuff. My mind has changed on a few things. When I had my NDE, it was absolutely nothing like what I was taught from other spiritual people. It was not like any of that. It was better. But it wasn't like what I read in books. I remember reading when I was younger. I read some of Sylvia Brown's books on the other side that her guide talked to her, and I read all these things, and I was reading them. I thought, oh, this sounds cool, but still, when I was even reading them before my NDE, I thought, okay. I can't disbelieve it because this is her perspective, or this is the perspective she's getting. But when I had my NDE, I'm like, it's almost like for that split second, you're looking around, you're going, wait, this isn't what she said.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, but I did also learn from my NDE is that when you leave here, it is based a lot on your belief system that you have accumulated throughout here. So if you had no belief system, like I didn't have anything concrete that I believed in. I didn't have like heaven. I already knew there wasn't a hell. I didn't know about the other stuff. When I went there, it was like I didn't want to go to some stupid green earth with plants all over it. I'm like, no, screw that. I'm going to the sky, dudes. And that's where, I spent a lot of that time there.
You know what, though? You're right about this, because I was having a conversation with someone today, and they were sharing a point of view. Somebody had said to them that living and dying is painful to a human body. And I remember that really lighting up for me as I was reading this comment. And I said, well, I think it's in the eyes of your perception. Because if you believe that life is hell on earth, you believe that it's painful in physical body and whatever, in death, whatever it may be, that even that saying, you're going to experience it. Like you said, it's the same thing when you pass away. And so, I mean, I've worked a lot in palliative care, and I again, just from experiencing being around, and I hate to say it sounds very morbid, but I've been around hundreds of people that have died. And I can tell you, being there with somebody who's passed from this earth, transitioning back home, it is not horrible and awful. And
no, and even the parts that are, like, if you have a sickness before you go, it's not something you remember.
Well, that's what I was going to add. Even if you are sick and you're under care and somebody's trying to manage your pain or whatever, that moment that you leave this earth, even if it's just the last few seconds when I've been there, it's very peaceful. It's very
I had sepsis and pneumonia, and I was really, really sick, you guys. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's the only part that I remember is having that. I don't remember being in the hospital. I don't remember healing from when they broke all my ribs open. I don't remember healing from, it looks like a shark bit me on the side. I don't remember any of that pain. It's just not there for me. So maybe the physical body. Yeah. If somebody hit me in the back of a head with a pipe, I'll probably go, ow. Oh, hi everybody. How are you? Okay, I'm back. And that'd be different. That's to me is
I'm
like,
not saying it's not painful. I was more or less even focusing on this perspective that living and dying is painful.
it's
If you
painful.
tell
Yeah,
yourself that, you're going to get that,
you're
right?
gonna get that.
Same thing.
Yeah,
As whether
exactly.
you say you can or you can't, you will succeed.
Yep.
So we've got quite a few comments here. Sandra had to go off to bowling. So Sandra,
Happy
thanks for being
bowling.
here. Hang on. I did want to. I've seen Neil's comments here and stuff, but there is one I do want to address quickly. Two of them actually. One of them is the movie Sybil, with Roger had asked about. The movie Sybil is not about possession. It is what used to be called multiple personality disorder. It's now called dissociative personality disorder, and we could do a whole show on that, but it does not involve the paranormal.
Yeah,
It
it's not
involves
paranormal at all.
somebody who has experienced extremely, extremely, extremely traumatic, painful childhood, and they've learned to disassociate from their body when they experience the things that they do, and they end up developing other personalities, which are in that world, as I understand it, called an alter. But it does not have anything to do with the paranormal.
Yeah, and did you know what? Too, for people who do have personality disorder, we are all not so far from Sybil. We aren't, because I mean, how many different personality traits do we have? I mean, not like that, not what they're portrayed, but
we're aware of that. I call that.
Yeah, we're aware. Oh, yeah, they're probably not aware.
We wear masks, right? Like we wear
mask. Okay,
mask, our work mask, our
that's a better way.
Brother or sister mask. And not everybody isn't aware, but there are a lot of people, because that's why it's called dissociative, right? Because we disassociate from whom we are in regular life for whatever reason. And there's some really interesting people on YouTube who have chronicled what their journey is and what they go through and how they manage it. And I certainly would not want to be somebody that was going through this, but
I wouldn't either. Yeah, I wouldn't either. And you made that. That's right, because it's not like, I'm not saying that we have it or we're like it and theirs is nothing. I'm just saying.
Oh, I didn't think you said that at all, Dave.
We shouldn't. We should never ever judge mental illness, because we have really nothing to base it off of unless we have it. I mean, we don't know what that person's going through.
It breaks my heart, though, looking at it more deeply, because that was a really profound movie when that came out in the 70s. Yeah. I wasn't a teenager then, but I remember it in the book. For the reason why this happens to people, that's what breaks my heart, when you find out why a child has to disassociate, and so many times that it ends up developing into multiple personalities to be able to cope with life.
Yeah. Now, there was a movie that I saw when I was about 14, which I shouldn't have been watching, but you got to think, when I was 14 was a very, very long time ago, at a different time. But it was like, we used to have, like you have Cinemax. Well, back then they used to have like Skinamax or whatever, or they'd show, when I was like 14, it was like very, very softcore, adult rated movies. Well, there was one movie that some of you might have heard of, and you might have heard of it, because actually the movie, if I can remember, was really good. The storyline is, and it's a movie called Sometimes Sweet Susan, where a woman shows up at an institution, psychiatric institution, and she's put in there because she has two personalities. And she had one personality as Sweet Susan, which she was very shy and caring. It's like you think she was beat up or something like that, or all this other stuff. But then during the movie, another personality would come out, and it was like this nasty, mean girl, bad girl. And that's where all the, the adult stuff came in when she went into that. Yeah. Well, they go through this whole movie trying to decide, and they keep saying in the movie how she's going into this, that trampy person, because she's trying to express something that she's hiding within herself, only to find out at the end of the movie, the trampy person was her real personality, and Sweet Susan was the one she went into that was different outside of it. It was really quite profound. And I was like, wow, what a cool thing. I am glad I don't have that, because like you said earlier, I think the difference is we wear the masks. We're aware we're wearing a mask, but for some people, they're not aware.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Well, and like I said, it usually comes from, mostly dug into this quite a bit and looked at it, and it comes from extreme, profound trauma, abuse, you name it, as a child. And it's so sad. There was one story I was reading, and I think it was on YouTube. And we won't get off. We got a bunch of paranormal stuff to get back to, but just to end it on this note. And she was talking about what it was like, because she really didn't have any warning when she would sort of switch into an altar. But she was talking about, in one day, some of the altars she had slipped into. But the worst for her was she woke up the next morning with a tattoo that she never remembered getting.
Oh no!
One of her altars had gone to get it.
Now that's weird, because I used to freak out when I blacked out when I was younger and I drank too much. Can you imagine not drinking at all and just waking up going, where did this
come from?
I mean, I'm not laughing at the disease, but
no,
it's like,
I know. She had a sense of humor about it. That's why I'm laughing.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back, because somebody had
hello,
mentioned.
Marshall and Health. Two new people joined, so I'm just going to give a quick hi. Christopher James and Marshall Martin.
Yeah, Christopher's. He comes here quite often. Hi, Marshall.
Oh yeah, Christopher.
I'm going to get to his comment in a sec, but I wanted to go back. I keep forgetting to do, because we get into these deep discussions and it always flies by. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with myself, Lorilei Potvin, and my amazing co-host and good friend, David Hanzel, on 105.3 and 107.7 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Anyways, I wanted to get back to this, because I think it's important to point this out. You see what you think. I think you're going to agree with me about this. Now, Kathy had said, and I respect what you say, Kathy. You said, I feel no one should use, and you meant Ouija board, because it's corrected below.
Well, actually, she's correct. Nobody should use a wedgie board.
Okay.
No.
We're not laughing at you.
No.
But, okay, I tell this story. I'll try and make it very quick. Say somebody hears that a chainsaw is very good. We'll call him Joe. Joe fears that it's amazing, a chainsaw to cut down a chain link fence. Somehow, miraculously, he heads to Lowe's or the local hardware store or wherever. He gets a chainsaw. He comes home, decides he's not going to read the instructions. He's going to just throw them out. Somehow, maybe it's electric. I don't know. He's able to get it working. He goes up to the chain link fence, and he goes to cut the chain link fence. And he is shocked as all get out when the chain link fence or the chainsaw kicks back and cuts his arm off. Now, is the chainsaw evil? No. What the problem is Joe didn't do his research. Joe didn't learn any safety things about the chainsaw. Joe didn't read the instructions. He didn't learn anything about it. He just jumped in there because he heard and he saw that the chainsaw was good to cut down a chain link fence, which it's not. That's how I feel about a Ouija board. It's no different than a pendulum. It's no different than any other types of communication devices. But I would not be jumping on a Ouija board without people showing me properly how to open and close the session. Do I use them? No. Do I make them? Yes. But to each your own. It's a communication device and tool. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry. I can feel you.
No, that's good. The Ouija is now I'm the same as Lorilei. Mm-hmm. Do I use a Ouija board? No, I don't really feel I don't need to. I mean, not that I don't need to, I'm being smug. I just never come across where I want to buy one or nothing. I don't find them evil. I do find the people who use them to be absolutely stupid sometimes. And I agree with Lorilei. It's one of those things. It's the same as a pendulum. I knew a lady who her son died and she kept doing a pendulum and she kept getting she heard about pendulums one day and she was deep in grief and she started saying her pendulum was telling her to do stuff and she was saying it was her son. And I knew that wasn't true because some of the stuff she said the pendulum was telling her was very negative things. And I'm like, honey, that's don't do that.
Exactly. I'm still here. I'm going to grab a pendulum for you guys.
But I'm not crazy about Ouija boards, but I do feel that Yeah, but I do feel that if you don't know how to use a Ouija board, then you need to do research or something. Brandy had said, Brandy, I forgot about that. Remember when I was talking about my leg moving? When I was talking about my leg moving, Brandy
Hi, Michelle, Christine. Hi, Jonathan. I'm going to yell. I want to show them something about a pendulum. You go ahead and talk, and then I'm going to show them.
Okay. Oh, real quickly, Brandy said, I remember the gallery reading you did. You had the mannerisms of the person you were communicating with. I loved it. The lady said your hand gestures. I was just like her family members. Yeah, that happened. That does happen to me. But I don't suggest anybody letting spirits come in real close to you like that. It's just like the Ouija board we're talking about. I know what I'm doing, and I spent a lot of my life pretty much protecting myself, and I know how to do it. Not that there's any fear behind it, and that's another thing too. I never have went into a reading with any kind of fear. And like Lorilei says, since I'm not going into it for fear, since I'm not looking for fear, since I don't care about fear, I most likely won't experience fear.
Plus, you're grounded.
Yeah, plus I'm always grounded, like Lorilei says.
Or whatever you want to call it, and you're in a high vibrational state. I want to show you guys. This is a pendulum, has an angel. This just, sorry, I got to, backwards. Sorry. It's got an angel on it. I use them only for crystal Reiki because I'm going to show you what the problem is. And I was telling a friend this. Hi, Michelle, Christine. That's my beautiful cousin. And Jonathan is here too. So once you're able to do things with energy, okay, I'm going to tell this to move back and forth. I'm not moving my arm. Now I'm going to ask it to stop. Now I'm going to ask it to turn. I moved my arm there. Sorry, guys. I'll start over. I'll try and if I do it here, you guys won't be able to see it. Normally, I'll try holding it like this. So now I'm going to ask it to turn around in circles. Now I'm going to ask it to stop. When I did this on a podcast once, the people were freaking out, going, "Oh my God, she's a witch!" And no, because once you understand about energy and what have you, so it's very difficult for me to use a pendulum to get a correct answer, especially if I have a vested interest in it. When I'm using it for crystal Reiki, I have no vested interest. I'm just checking the status of somebody's chakras. But my point is, they're very easy to manipulate. You can use your body as a pendulum when you're out if you needed to.
Yeah, okay? Your body is a pendulum. Yeah, it is a pendulum.
So the point is, it's a communication device, just like a Ouija board. If I usually have drawn a circle, A, B, C, D, all the way to Z or Z, as you guys say, put it in the middle and ask questions, and it'll spell things out. It's no different. It's same as people were talking about talking boards with the seance. What do you think those were? Ouija boards.
Ouija boards. They all are. Do you know what? I do a control for every definition I do, except for cards. I don't use a control for that. I do a control like what Lorilei did. She looked for that. Every time I pick up my pendulum, because for me it's always different. When I pick up my pendulum, I always just hold it really still, and I always just say, "Is my shirt black?" Like if I'm wearing a black shirt,
and you should do that, and I do too.
If it goes back and forth, I'll go, okay, back and forth. I ask my shirt's black, and I'll say, "Is my shirt blue?" And if it goes the other way, then I'll know, okay, now I know my yeses.
Want to know what I do to cut it easy? Show me yes or balance, please. Show me no or unbalanced. Show me neutral, and it'll show me. But I do check it because I'm using it to check to see if somebody's
well, see, then I do the third. Then I do the third question. I do a third control. That's where I got it. And I'll tell you, I do this in Ouija boards too, you guys. And I know it sounds terrible. It sounds like, oh, that David, he's so skeptical. But I want to be, because the evidence and proof we give you guys, I want it to really hit home for you. So I'll ask if my shirt's black. It'll go back and forth. And then I'll ask if my shirt's blue. And then I'll go back and forth. And I'll say, I'll pick something in the room. And I'll say, I'm looking at something in the room. Is what I'm looking at silver? And then if that's the question, and if it does a yes and it's a no, I'll be like, nope. wrong. It's my controls off already. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while, don't you get a feeling sometimes when you pick up your divination, sometimes don't you get a feeling that like everyone, like I never
I'm
bless
going to
my
grab another divination tool. I want to add something quickly before you ask me. Christopher James, chainsaws are not made to cut metal. That would be a hacksaw. Exactly. Why do you think I use that example? That's how ridiculous it is. The guy didn't do research or anything to find out that, yes, chainsaws should not be used to cut a chain link fence. I don't know if you popped in on the whole story or not, but he's shocked as all get out that the chainsaw cut his arm off. Now, is the chainsaw evil? That was the point. No, the chainsaw is just a tool.
Right? Yeah, the chainsaw is a tool. And the person using it was a total tool.
I was
I do. I do you can do a control with the Ouija board too. If you're playing a Ouija board with people you don't know, okay, or like that, you can ask a question like, is my aunt, is someone here with me that knows me? And you got all these answers. If you want to throw everybody off, you can say something like, what color was my Aunt Jean's eyes? If you say, my Aunt Jean. If you're with people who don't know you, they're not going to be able to move the board any special way because they won't know where to go with it. So you can test people on that. I've played Ouija board with a couple of people who I caught, literally caught. I mean, it was, I mean, they turned the lights down really low and they did all this other stuff. I got mine too. But
these are a communication device. People found water, electrical lines. We did a course on this. My co-host, when we used to do stuff on this show, on this network, Seraphine, we taught people how to, fuzzies in it, taught them how to make divining rods. They're all just communication devices, but you have to know how to use them and how to close the session, as well as how to, protect your energy and things. You're not going in a place of fear. Jane, I love what you said here. And yes, she goes, I used a pendulum to test buying cat and dog food. That's where if you're a little self-conscious or you don't, there's Davis. I have so many of them.
Guys,
do you think I can find matching ones? I finally found matching ones.
I'm going to tell you guys something, and I hate to be a jerk, but okay, go ahead.
One thing I was just going to add, because she was talking about a pendulum to test buying cat and dog food. If you're self-conscious, that's what I was just going to say. That's where you would use your body as a pendulum. Go ahead, Dave. Or did you? Because Jackie Lane's asking us, do either of you know anything about crystal balls? Yes, we do. We know lots, and you can use water as well in this crystal ball. David went to grab his. Yes, we do. It's called scrying, and yes,
it's called scrying. Yeah, I love scrying. You guys, scrying is awesome. But I tell people you can scry into a Q-tip if you don't have any.
I was just going to say something like that. You could use smoke. You could use water. You can use a crystal. All you're doing really is getting into a meditative state and interpreting what you're able to visualize. And it's not hard. Once you understand about energy, and I try not to sound elitist because it's not elitist. Anybody could do it. Like I showed you guys with the pendulum. I told you when I move my arm, I move my arm. Normally I've got it stabilized up here, so I don't move my arm. And I'm telling it what to do by focusing energy. It's that easy. You just got to practice. You can use a necklace, anything.
Yeah, you can use a necklace thing. With this, I used to light a real small candle.
Oh, cool. So you got the flame too.
Yeah, and I put the flame into the ball and helped my focus. Now, when people used to say, what do you see in the crystal ball? Here's the deal with the scrying. You're not actually really seeing it in the crystal ball. Your mind's eye, though, can make it seem like it's kind of there, but you're seeing it in your mind's eye, but it's very, very strong. So everybody says, how come you can see it in the crystal ball and we can't see it in the crystal ball? It's because the crystal ball is your mind's eye, is what you're seeing. Now, I wanted to say about
a theta wave meditative state, almost when you're staring into the ball. I really do believe that.
I do. I go into theta really easy. I used to practice doing it, and there's a bunch of stuff you can do, but I just go into it really easy. What I was going to say about divining rods, and I don't want to be an old stick in the mud, but I'm going to tell you, because I've seen this on TikTok, and whenever I see this on Whenever I see this on TikTok, I will block them in 10 seconds flat. They have people sitting in the car asking questions going, oh, I mean, and these people are answering some questions that I wouldn't answer if I got it directly from spirit because it's not my business. And they'd be asking stuff like, do I have cancer? Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then they go on to the next question. Is my mom is she gonna die soon? Oh, it says yes. I'm sorry, hon. Okay, next one. Oh, yes. Oh no, you're not going to be with your boyfriend. And they're using this. What? I don't know what they're doing to get that answer or where they think that's what these are actually used for. I mean, they can be used for spiritual stuff, but like Lorilei, if she used them, she would know what she's asking for, and she would know what to ask, and she would know what.
You know what I use these for, honestly, and I need to brush back up on it. I took this course with Marie Diamond, and it's called Diamond Dowsing. And it teaches you where there might be ley lines and say energy cracks or portals or things like that. And it teaches you how to heal it with copper and things. But this is how and I'm making it sound very simplistic. It's a little more complicated than that. Yeah. She talks to you about how to create, and you don't need this to create portals of light or anything. Should you want to assist somebody that has decided, because none of us are stuck here for the rest of our lives if you don't cross over, but sometimes you need a little help, or you might need a little bit of light. It's a really excellent course I took with her. That's the only time I use, or if you want to fool around with them, you can take them out. You can make your own with coat hangers. That's why we taught people how to do it.
These ones are for finding. I'm not going to say Native American. That's the first time you think these are Native American. I'm like, no, a stick is what they used to use, a triangle stick. But mine, I have used this. You can find energy. You can find wells. You can find water.
That's what I was going to say. You could find your water line in your front yard if you wanted to.
You can find a body underneath the ground. And I don't know why more people don't use them. If you're a seasoned professional in this, I don't know what it is, but these can locate the energy of people. You can take another person. Some people, you can walk towards people, and these will just spread out as you walk towards them, or they'll spread inwards.
I'm trying to think what this thing is called. Maybe you'll know. I was going to look it up because we did a bit of a class, Seraphine and I, when it was free. We taught people how to do it. We told them what to come with and taught them how to do this. But I think it was called a boinger or something. And it came from Norway before divining rods. Because it used to be called water witching and things. Because I see Heather said she used willow branches, which you can, to find a source of water on the farm. But it was called a boinger, and I think it came from Scandinavia, and it was like almost like on a spring with a little ball at the end. But it was the same thing. You'd hold it, and it would point to wherever you. Like if you were looking for water or what, because we're electrical. Or Marshall says, I've used them to find an underground electrical fault. Yes. Yep. I like that Roger said about the crystal balls and the scrying. And it reminded me of the movie Poltergeist. Actually, Roger, he said, I used to use an old 60-inch TV to do scrying.
But you know what? Scrying, I see that. I totally get why you do that. Yeah, because I think that's a great way to scry.
He says for his psychic readings, he really did use an old TV.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Kate. I just kicked my cat in the face.
Oh,
no. Not an accident. It's more of a boot.
Kevin!
Hey, Kevin. He's here a little bit early. But there we go. We just went right into like divination. Divination is fun. It's absolutely beautiful.
We could do a whole show, Dave, if people want.
Yeah, we could. If anybody ever wants it. I love divination. I had to say, though, like yesterday, which is funny. I was telling Lorilei yesterday, I was doing my live on TikTok yesterday.
Yes.
And you just get, you get all kinds of people, but I'm doing this live and I'm doing readings. Now, when I do my TikTok live, when I go up to the woods, I'll bring my cards with me. The reason I bring my cards is that people like to see the cards. And usually people always go, can I have a card? That's the first thing they always say when they go in there. I'm like, I don't have cards. I'm going direct. And I'll tell people I'm going direct. If I say I'm going direct, that means I'm just going to sit here and listen to these guys. But people like cards. So sometimes I'll put my focus into cards. And some girl comes on there and she goes, oh, you're using cards? I don't need to use cards. And I said, you don't need to be in my live either.
Why?
It's like, yeah, whatever, smart aleck. I don't need cards either. And you know what? And it's been told by spirit so many times. For certain people, they'll tell you sometimes it's a crutch, but it's not for all people. It's not for all.
It
But
was my security blanket in the
yeah,
group that
everybody.
will now remain unnamed. One of my mentors from that group pushed me and said, "You're using it as a security blanket." And was I?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So do I need
Yeah.
no.
So now I use them when I want to use them. So I used to do the same thing a long time ago. I could not do a reading if I didn't have a card to give me the inspiration. But once you learn everything that goes the right way, when I'm doing a reading, like people are sitting in front of me or whatever, and I just see the name, I automatically just focus right into the energy. I don't use a card anymore. But sometimes cards are fun.
It's yeah, and the reason why, and Dave and I do it in third, because I used to say to people once upon a time ago when I'd have the time to do free 1-question readings live on Facebook, and I would say the more specific you can be, the more specific spirit can be. But it's really easy when you've got a whole, like Dave, you had well over 100 people. I didn't join them, and I should have. I was in the middle of resin stuff. But anyways, when you've got people and they're asking questions and it's just one question and it's quick fire answers, it gives people something else visual to see besides just hearing you. You pull a card. Sometimes it gets me stuff too, because you can't tune into everybody 100%.
No.
You can't. So there's that.
I've picked names before, like in the beginning, when somebody comes in and goes, "Can I have a card?" And I'll sit here for a minute and see if I can even get their energy. I'm like, I don't even got crap yet. And then I'll pull a card. And as soon as I pull the card and start looking at it, I'm like, oh, here's their energy. And it shows up. It all depends. I mean, the nice thing about spiritual and the work we do is it's very fluid and it's very malleable and it's very like clay, and you can stretch it and you can move it and it changes. And it's really quite beautiful. I hate that people all get stuck into one genre and that's it. I like to venture out and find out all the really cool stuff.
I think that that's what it is, right? Is being willing to step outside your comfort zone, as well as being willing to accept that you're not always going to be right. There's no crime in that. That's how we learn. And also, if you feel like you've got a calling, like people have shared some great comments here about starting out. Brandy had a great comment about she found, with going in, she said, sorry, I'm going to go back a bit. She said, that's how Star and I located the cemetery, Popper's Field, at the Asylum Infirmary.
I remember that you guys did, didn't you?
You gifted them. And what?
I gave you dowsing rods? That's how bad my memory is. I'm sure.
Okay, so Neil says, I tried scrying for years, and it wasn't until I really started trusting my third sights or mental imagery that I found scrying amazing. The other thing I'm going to add, have you guys seen with the Ghost Tube app? And I wanted to do this one of these nights. Maybe you will. I don't know how reliable it is yet because it's new. And apparently there's like a 3D visor that goes with it, but you don't need it. If you are connecting with spirit, you still may get a verbal, like something verbal coming through, but they will send a picture, like an AI picture to you about what they're trying to convey to you. Where I found out about it, Paranormal Nightmare, they were using it, and I kept going, what the heck are they using? And then I looked really closely and I saw it was through Ghost Tube, and I thought, that's interesting. Might be fun to try one night, try it live.
But I love all forms of divination. I think divination is just the cat's meow. It's wonderful. The only thing I haven't tried yet, but I want to look into, is reading tea leaves.
Oh, you're reading my mind, because I was thinking about that, because that is a real art, I think. But
it is. It's something. It's a long study, and I swear, you guys, the day that I start studying it, whenever I get that calling, I will do a bunch of free readings just to test it out, make sure it's working.
So the interesting thing, though, with it is, because I just heard this from Spirit, that should you want to do it, right, and depending on what the tea leaves are, you would have to sort of build, I guess, a bit of a dictionary, but you can almost do it like we do tarot sometimes, where you just intuitively read tarot rather than really getting into the big story of it all, because it can tell quite a story, and tarot is a real art. Like, I think it is. Don't you?
It is. It is. I was reading this at the same time. I do. You know what? I like Oracle better than tarot, but the only reason
I do too.
I don't hate tarot. I will admit to anybody watching right now, when it comes to tarot, I cannot memorize all that stuff.
That's my thing. I do it intuitive. I said
I
it
have-
is a natural deck.
I have some friends who do tarot. They could be half asleep with a bad cold, not wanting to do anything, and they can pick the cards and go, this card says this card says this card says this. Or someone like me going, the card's not talking to me. What do you mean? What does it mean? You know, because they know that the cards actually, the way tarot is structured, there are meanings behind stuff,
and it tells a story.
Yeah,
so
and they're like universal.
I wanted to add this because Kevin Aziz and Dragon says, I have runes, but I've only used them once. I make runes out of resin. I do have some beautiful quartz runes. I can't remember the last time I've used them. And again, I think there's a bit of an art to reading.
There is. I've got runes too. I have them too, and I used them a couple times. And it's one of those things, if you put me into memorization, I won't get it.
Well, Brandy, I have a tea. Actually, she just reminded me. I have this beautiful reading teacup and book too, Brandy. And I forgot all about it till I just read that you just purchased it.
Now I gotta get one since everybody's doing it, Dad.
Because she says it's a bit intimidating for some. I feel the same way, Brandy. So don't feel bad, Julie. You are reading my mind because I was thinking this when we were talking about scrying. Flame readings are fun too. Yes, you can use flames to do.
I like and when who was it, Katie or Kathy said behind is flame reading like the candle reading, kind of like candle flame?
No, you scry with the flame, like you.
Yeah, I do that. We said that earlier. Yeah, up there. I like that as well. Have you ever done it? Have you ever changed the candle flame color?
Yes. I knew you were going to ask me that. Or you can make it go up higher or lower, turn to blue, turn to purple.
We've all three of us got together and we did, like I said, we did a control. So we each had paper in front of us. So when we all changed, we were going to change the candle color 3 times. And
cool.
And we wrote down what we all saw at the same time, and we all got the same colors. Yeah, we all had the same colors, and it was really cool. It's hard with the height I can see it, but I'm that stupid guy that goes, maybe I was breathing too hard. You know what I mean? I
have a flame story quickly. There was a friend of my partner Dell's who passed away, and they've been friends since they were in high school, and other friends were having a big party. It was a Christmas tree burning party in May. They do a big bonfire. Everybody who gets a real tree brings it and they throw it on the fire. So as I was leaving, this quite a few years ago, I heard Spirit say, you need to bring a deck with you. And I'm arguing in my head, I'm not bringing a deck with me. They think I'm nutty already. Never mind. No, you need to. Fine, I'll bring it. Sure enough, I met this girl there that I didn't know. And it was so sad. Her mom had passed away, first of all. So I gave her a reading and we went inside, and the owner of the house, the mistress of the house, I said, I hope you're okay with this. She goes, as long as you don't bring any ghosts in here, fine. So anyways, we go out. During the reading, it came out that her mother's favorite color was fuchsia. I have a picture of her and I and my partner Dell, and right where her heart would be, heart chakra, there's a big blur of fuchsia over it. That was the first thing. Second thing, I have a picture of the flames. I was taking pictures, and those guys get crazy, throwing on piles and piles of trees, and the flames go really high. There is a man's face, side profile in that picture. I swear to God to you, it looks just like their friend that passed away. And I remember I took pictures of the flames because we were all toasting him when it happened.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool. Mm-hmm.
Who was talking about that? Oh, Julie. That's why I asked which flame she was talking about. There's one where you scorch a piece of paper.
Okay.
I
interesting.
I have not done that one, but I have done the one where we tore up paper and lit it on fire and let it burn and quick put it out and watched it like that. I wonder if that's the same thing.
Oh, that's such a cool idea. And Marshall says he's thought about the tea leaves. So everybody must be getting into tea leaf reading.
Tea leaves. Let's all do tea leaves.
Well, you guys, if you guys want that, because I hate to tell you this, but this goes by so fast for us. We are almost like we got to get out of here. But if you're enjoying talking about some of the subjects we've been talking about tonight in the paranormal, stay tuned for the second night of The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoger and Amelia Bazzano up right after us. So, Dave, how can they get a hold of you? What we should tell them, right? If you guys want to do a show on divination, we'd be happy to do it, wouldn't we, Dave?
Yes, in fact, you guys, if you have any ideas for show, and Lorilei will tell you where to write her, but you can write to me at david@theywhispertome.com if you have any ideas. That you can also please visit my website, thewhispertome.com. I'm on TikTok at Medium David Hanzel. I'm the one. I am got all the followers. Not that there's a lot of people are copying me. I never ever DM people to solicit readings either. Just know that. But my YouTube channel is called The Spirit Experience. My Facebook group is called The Spirit Experience. You can also watch us on The Spirit Experience and in my Facebook group. I'm on Instagram as Medium David Hanzel, TikTok at Medium David Hanzel. Write to me at david@whispertome.com. Go take it away, Lorilei.
I think you got everything. Yes. And thank you for the great comments. It sounds like people enjoyed the show tonight. So we're glad. That's why we're here. Without you, we'd be nothing except having a conversation and just between the two of us. So that's why we do it. We love interacting with all of you. If you ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. If you have a show idea, guest suggestion. Also, if you want to book a reading, I do mediumship. I also do psychic and other things like that. I do crystal Reiki. I do healing energy. And I also do mentoring. And I am working as the holidays getting closer. It may be closer to February-ish sort of, but I'm working on a course that I'm going to be teaching about many of these topics we talk about. So also I have two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal and the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things spiritual. We never did get to our video. I'll have to save that for next week.
We'll do more videos next time. We've got we're going to keep an eye out this for us and around Christmas, you guys, because I had talked to Lorilei. We might be telling Christmas ghost stories. Looking up actual original Christmas ghost stories.
Yes, absolutely. I forgot. I'm glad you remembered. So we'll save it for next week. Actually, the Angel Rock, you guys, I do have guest book, but I have some more stories I wanted to talk about on Monday night. So who knows? Maybe we'll try out the Ghost Tube app. Who knows? I want to try that out and see what comes up.
Yeah, we can play you guys online. Hey, and we want to remind you guys, stay spooky. Come join us. Follow us and everything.
Wednesdays.
Oh, yeah, and on Wednesdays, if you guys want to see readings and stuff, go find my TikTok and follow me and Lorilei on Wednesdays, and it'll alert you.
I usually show up. I try
usually,
to get there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we love y'all. Like Dave said, stay spooky. Oh, there's our usual host, Angel. All right, guys, love y'all. Stay tuned for Michelle and Amelia coming right up next. Okay, have a good one. Are you ready, Dave? Okay, we're gonna do it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
Did we do it on?
Almost. I don't know. Somebody, you'll have to tell us because we have a delay.
You'll have to tell us.
We're gonna have to listen to the ends of our shows one day.
Okay, but just so you know, when we do it exactly at the same time, we said we're going to give away a reading from each of us. So listen, see if you guys think it was, and let us know next week. Okay. Much love to you all. Okay, we'll see you next Thursday. I'll be here Monday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, talk to you later.